Good morning. I just wanted to share something with you guys real fast. It's something that I experienced, a learning experience, and it happened back when I was in Nashville. So it just happened just a few weeks ago, and I almost forgot to tell you guys, but I'll make it quick. So when I pull into Nashville, we got this Airbnb, and this Airbnb was apartment where there were shops on the first floor, but there's apartments on top. So when I drove in, alright, it has a parking garage, and it has the first floor for shopping customers only to park, and then it goes up and it comes up like this, and then there's more parking spots, but then there's a gate right here that's going into the second floor. And the gate is right there is for people who live there, but they have like a remote so they can open it up. So I go in to park, and I parked on the first floor, went up, got my Airbnb, got the keys, came back down. I got into the car, then I drive back up to go into the gated part. But where the gate was, there was a guy right there parked, and his flashers were on. And I'm like, I look at this dude, and I look at the car, and there's no one in sight. I'm like, what is this dude doing? Was he running to the store real fast? Did he just leave his car there just to go shopping real fast? Or, I mean, what is he doing? Do you want to just drop someone off? I said, that's a little inconsiderate, parking your car right in front of that gate. And so I start getting my stuff out of the car, but I'm start taking my time because I see the car or the person who the owner of the car, and he's just walking around. And then I'm watching these other cars come up who want to go into the gate, but they don't know what's going on either. So I'm like, what is this dude doing? So I automatically think, this dude is a douchebag. Why are you just, it didn't make no sense to me. You leave your car there with the hazards on and just to go shopping or just to drop someone off, So I'm like, what a douchebag, man. So I'm getting these negative thoughts about this guy. So I was going to say something to him, but I was like, it's not my place, whatever. So I grabbed my bags, and when I walk into the building, that same gentleman is there. And he's waiting for the elevator with me. So I'm like, after I have these thoughts about him and negative thoughts about him, I said, hey, I greeted him. Hey, how you doing? And he looks at me. He's like, not too good. He's like, man, not everything's messed up. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, my car just broke down. I can't move it. My axle broke. So my wheels are bent, so I can't push it back. And I don't know what to do. I'm like, that makes sense, man. That makes sense. Because even if his car broke down, you could just push it out the way. But his axles were bent and his tires weren't in the same position. So he couldn't push it back. So he was stressed out. It was on a Sunday. He was trying to call tow trucks. I'm like, oh, man. So I felt guilty. And I'm like, wow, man. And instantly I knew that the Lord just showed me something right there. And so I asked him, I said, I know there's nothing I could probably do, but if there's anything I could do, let me help you out. So I went up into the hotel room, and man, I felt so convicted just because I had all these empty thoughts or all these negative thoughts, and I automatically knew what was going on when I had no idea what was going on. And but here's the thing, man. How many of us do that? How many of us do that? Like, I looked at this scenario from the outside. I had no idea what was going on. I looked at this scenario from the outside, and I automatically assumed that this was going on. Like, my mind was made up. I just looked at a few things from the outside without asking information, without asking questions, without even trying to understand the situation. But I already assumed automatically what was going on in that story. I already placed the judgment on him. I already placed the judgment on the whole circumstance without even knowing information, without even knowing anything. My mind already made a conclusion of what I saw. But I had no idea. It was something totally different. So how many of us go through the day looking at people's actions, looking at looking at a certain way of looking at a certain way of how they're handling a situation. But we're only viewing it from the outside. But we're already making assumptions. We're already choosing to decide that this is what's going on. So now we're judging. And now we're saying this person should do this person should do this, you need to do this, you need to do that. But while we're already coming up with these judgments, we didn't even stop and we didn't even ask. We didn't even stop and we didn't even ask to understand, to hear the detail, to hear the story. How many of us are doing that? So before you make a conclusion from the outside, looking from the outside and looking into one situation or one circumstance, we need to listen. We need to understand. We need to ask questions. We're so quick to assume with anything in this world, with any situation and anybody. And it may turn out that what that person says, that it is nothing what you thought of. It's completely different of the thoughts that popped up in your head. And then now you're in awe. Because I felt convicted. But I thank the Lord. After I apologized to the Lord, I thank the Lord for showing me that. Because we're all still human. And we all still live in this flesh. And I thank the Lord for showing me that. And it was a big lesson that I learned. So after that, I went back down. And he was jacking his car up. And trying to move the wheels. And he got it moved eventually. But when I went down there, I helped him. I jacked up the side. And I just had small talk with him. And he was a cool guy. He wasn't a douchebag. He was just having a bad day. He seemed like a real cool guy. And that's just like some of us. We're judging others. But we're only just making up our own judgment on who they are before you even want to know and understand. But that was real quick. I just learned from it, and hopefully, before you guys start judging others or judging the situation, ask, find out, learn the details, get info, and understand. Open your mind. All right, goodbye. You guys have a blessed day. I love you, but most of all, Jesus loves you.